Hey my friends, Vitaly here. I am angry today. I know that the clickbait is the king of today's so-called journalism. I know that they want your ads money by any cost. And today we will reveal the lie of the video of Jimy Dore. Sanctions hurting US more than Russia. I was struggling where to start. And I decided to start from the most incompetent shouting of Mr. Jimy.
Russia's ruble is the strongest currency in the world. Russia's ruble is the strongest currency in the world. Russia's ruble is the strongest currency in the world.
First, the ruble is the strongest currency in the world. Let's look what really happened. What Russian central bank did when sanctions hit? 1. They stopped all trading for 2 weeks. Stocks, currency, everything. They just froze it. When you cannot sell or buy, you actually don't know the price. You can officially set it to whatever level you want. They could do it like 1 ruble to $1. 2. They announced that US cash dollars are not allowed to be sold to individuals, except for some limits that imposed. And US dollars are also not allowed to be transferred abroad by any company. So, if you happened to have some balance sheet in the US in Russia, wrong, no more dollars. 3. They defaulted on US savings account. The central bank made the rule that said you can withdraw only $10,000 per individual from all savings accounts. The rest will be paid in rubles by the official exchange rate. And you remember what we said about the official exchange rate just recently. So by domestic default and making ruble non-convertible, they made an impression of the most stable currency in the world. You know what was the most stable currency in the world? USSR Rubble. Yeah, it had an exchange rate of 0.63 rubles for $1 for 40 years. And by the way, it was a felony to exchange US dollars in the Soviet Union. It was the stability price, right? And the Soviet Union collapsed with this rate. It collapsed with the most stable currency in the world that went straight to zero in a matter of several months. I remember it. I was 11 years old. And my parents lost all the savings. Second, Jimy claims that Putin wants a deal. False. Putin wants a pause to regroup and attack other countries. And he's saying it straight. He even gives us a clue about the countries like Poland, Estland, and others. Third, how the country with the economy size of Spain achieved geopolitical influence like Russia. So it must be false? Well, easy, by corrupting politicians and journalists that Russia did for decades and USSR before. By the way, I won't be very surprised if I hear someday that Jimy Dore got some incentives from Russian agents here. We saw it in European countries. Why the United States should be different? Obviously, I do not accuse him. I don't have any proof yet. I can definitely claim that he is a moron who is willing to sacrifice lives of 2 million Ukrainians that Putin was planning to kill from the beginning of the invasion in exchange of fuel prices going $1 lower. And speaking about corrupted politicians and journalists and scientists, one great example is ex-chancellor or ex-head of the Germany, Gerhard Schröder, who was invited to become a high-profile representative by many Russia oil companies. Or you can think about Jacques Sapir, who was an invited scientist in the Russian School of Economics in Moscow? Paying high-level compensation by inviting scientists and journalists always was the prime strategy of Soviet Union and Russia. By the way, all his forecasts comes from the Russian Institute of Economic Forecasting, which is part of the Russian Academy of Science, which is 100% controlled by the descendants of KGB. Simply speaking, all of this forecasting is trash. And guess what? Jimy selects him as an expert. Jimy selects the biased articles by the most yellow media in the world to prove his claims because he wants fame and money. By any cost. Even 2 million of Ukrainians matter nothing to him. Fifth, Russia economy is the size of Germany by PPP. He uses PPP with the hope that you will not Google it. I claim that this is a total miscalculation. In the calculations, the experts sometimes include into Russia economy the income from oil and gas exports. And the significant part of it never hit the economy. Those so-called oil dollars are either spent to buy properties abroad for oligarchs, think about London Chelsea Club, or to accumulate the reserves that are now mostly frozen. By the way, I lived in Germany for 5 years in total, and you should be so stupid to compare it to Russia. Look at those images of one of the biggest economy in the world, according to Jimy the Shit Show. Six, Russia is the biggest exporter of oil ahead of Saudi Arabia. False. Saudi Arabia exports twice as much crude oil as Russia. If you count for gas and oil and other substances and convert it into the thermo units, then Russia will be the largest exporter of energy resources. And by the way, the fact that you are not the number one producer, but number one exporter, shows the structure of your economy good enough. In developed economy, right, like Germany or the United States, you consume a lot of energy resources inside because you have rich population, because you have rich businesses, because you have technologies. But if you have $4,000 PPP per capita is in Russia versus 55,000 in Germany, then who will consume those oil? You have to export it and become the biggest gas station in the world that imports everything, including nails. Oh my god, I went through half of the video and I am done. Please be aware of such experts. I hope you never followed any of his advices, because you are screwed. If you allow yourself to be manipulated by entertaining tricks in the shit shows like that, then you are screwed. I love you. Believe in Ukraine. Support Ukraine. See you next time.